那在我们开始之前，我们可不可以请秀娟老师先打开您的镜头，跟大家就是打个招呼？秀娟老师其实她很早就到了，老师。
Hi everyone.
老师，我把时间交给你，所以你要分享你的画面咯。
Okay. Yeah, I will.
Okay.
In a second.
那我代表拍手欢迎秀娟老师。或是大家刷一排爱心也可以。
Thank you. Other old friends, new friends, novice teacher, experienced teacher. Hi, how are you? Okay. Well, all right. So this is my slide, and there you go. Okay, I'm sure you can see my slide, right?
Yep, 看得到.
Okay. Good morning. All right. Well, and I was told like there will be over 200 teachers here in today's conference, in today's workshop, and that's a lot of pressure to me. And this is not really the first time I talked to a room full of teachers, but still, the pressure's there, obviously. Okay, so if I stutter, if I start to if my mind goes blank and then I seem to get stuck somewhere, I will apologize. And well, so today, I have to make things clear to you, like 2 things clear to you. Number one, you know what? I am, of course, this is the topic, teaching English in English. So that is the reason why I choose to deliver in English, because I think maybe at least I should serve as an example, right? To convince you that like all English teaching is possible. Maybe I should first of all serve as an example. Okay. And number 2, you know what? I'm talking about like teaching English in English, not because I'm trying to convince you like this is the best way of teaching. No, that's not my point. My point is this is possible, and we may want to dig in further to go back and look at the theory, review a little bit of, the theories we have learned before back in college days, and then reflect on our teaching and thinking about whether we could practice this way of teaching as well. Okay, it's not because this is the best way of teaching, because I haven't been asked this kind of question. Number 1, is it effective? When you say teaching English in English, is it really an effective way of teaching? And honestly, I would probably say, oh, not really, depending on your definition of being effective. What do you mean by being effective? If effective teaching means helping your students get better score, I don't know. I don't know. Do they really get better scores because of my teaching? I hope so. But honestly, I don't have statistics to prove it to you. All right, so when I say effective, being effective, look, it doesn't really involve the scores, okay? And the second question I have been often asked is, so why do you do it? And again, I'm going to offer you my honest answer. Well, I'm a seasoned teacher, and I have been doing teaching in the past 30 years. 30 years. All right, 30 years. So it's not like I did it just a month ago or 2 months ago. For the past 30 years, it seems to be kind of like my belief. All right, so I think it's more like a belief. And when I'm practicing it, I don't really think about much about the consequence, and I don't really care much about the theories. I know I was trained. I have been trained to do my teaching this way. And sometimes I don't even bother to think about the theories behind them. But today, tell you what, it's about like 2 years ago, I was assigned a job to share my experience with, teachers in Taiwan. And I was assigned a job by Professor 陈玉秀老师, 叶欣南老师. They wanted me to maybe write a thesis paper on, all English teaching. Like, in a way, they want me to promote this kind of practice and maybe share my experiences with novice teachers. So because I was assigned a job to, write a thesis paper, so it seemed to be, the best time for me to review what I have learned before. Okay, at least I have to adjust. Like, I have to justify myself. I need to find reasons here and there to support myself. So that was the beginning of the story. Okay, and that's why I'm here. And as I was reviewing all the theories, and well, I asked myself a lot of reflective questions. So maybe it makes sense. While I'm practicing all English teacher, or the so-called EMI. I mean, some of you might be thinking about another term, EMI. Okay, English as an instrument of instruction, as a means of instruction. So that's EMI. Or you can say teaching English in English. Okay, so this is the way I turn it into a topic. All right, so what I'm saying is, why do I do it? Number one is my belief, and I have been practicing this for the past 30 years. And then because I was assigned this task to write this thesis paper, I started to go over the theories I've learned before and trying to, justify myself, finding reasons to support my way of teaching and to see if I am helping my students or not. Am I doing the right thing or not? And the third question is why not? Why not means, basically if you think about what most English teachers are doing in their class today in Taiwan, I would say mostly is a mixed use of language, right? Mixed use of language. And it could be like 20% of English and 80% of Chinese. Well, so why don't we, lean toward this more English and less Chinese? If it's good, then why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? All right, so here is the thing I want you to do for now. I mean, we have this chat box. Can you tell me, maybe offer me a few examples or reasons why most English teachers do not want to practice all English teaching? Can you do that? Using the chat box, on the side, you can find it here on the screen. And can anyone at all just, put in the reasons, send your messages, type your messages in the chat box. Why don't we do it? If it's so good, if it's that good, then why not? Okay, I have a response from Sunny. Time saving, right? It saves a lot of time. If you have to make sure your students understand it, it usually takes more time to offer them either the translation or explanation, right? Not effective. So this going back and forth between Chinese and English is not really effective. And besides, what if they don't have a clue at all about what you're talking about? What if your students feel lost? And I have another answer that says, it's hard to teach grammar. Exactly, that is the issue. What about grammar? Yeah, explaining grammar itself is a task that's hard to, that's hard to explain even in Chinese. And now you have to do it in English. And with all these jargons, they will get even more confused. You talk about verb, subject. You talk about the structure. Oh, participial construction. Oh, Because if I talk about, this is say, what, the predicate, and you talk about direct, indirect speech, and you talk about inversion, oh my, those are just too much to take. Okay, so also, okay, students yeah, of course, from their point of view, all they want is to pass the test. They want a better score. They don't want to hear you babbling all the time, and they might feel like you are wasting their time. You are hampering their understanding. You are the barrier. Am I right? Like, you're not helping us. Okay. And I have another answer. Low achievers away, low achievers. Okay. Yeah, most teachers, we worry about the students' understanding about, like, how much they understand, their comprehension, and big size in a big class with 40 students, like 30 something. The number, that is a huge number of students with that class size, and different levels of comprehension, different levels of English proficiency. How do you make sure each and every one of them follow you well? Agree, I totally agree. I think these are the barriers, these are the challenges, these are our concerns, and that in the back of our mind, that is constantly reminding us, no, not to do it. You are like playing with fire. Am I right? You're playing with fire. So tell you what, these are indeed, thank you very much for, all these messages. For me personally, I do feel this way as well. Like, I'm not kidding. For me, teaching English in English, indeed, is like what? It's like, walking on this tight rope with a land or a field of landmines, and then it is constantly like making you nervous, and that anxiety could overcome you, right? Could be overwhelming, and you will be questioning yourself. That is like a self-doubt. There's always some kind of second guessing yourself. And then along the way, sometimes, we are no native speakers. You and me, I think most teachers here, like, your first language is not English. Our first language, my first language is Taiwanese, okay? Yeah, so because we are not native speakers, somehow that flow of speech doesn't come naturally. It's almost like we have to struggle for it. We have to strive for that fluency. And yeah, that anxiety is constantly there, in the back of our mind. And that is really the problem. So to me, it's the same thing, okay? And so what am I going to tell you? Anyway, with all these challenges, with all these concerns, how am I going to do it? So first of all, I want to today, well, in our workshop today, I want to deliberate, number one, what do we mean by, teaching English in English? I use that as the title rather than all English teaching, because I think I would like to twist that definition a little. So what is the rationale behind it? Do we have a definition for, teaching English in English? Does it have to be 100% English? Do you allow Chinese in the class on the part of the students and on the part of the teacher? Okay, so yes, mostly we will stick to the language, target language, which means English. But does that, when we do the teaching, it has to be 100%, or maybe not? And do you allow the students to respond in English or Chinese? Why not? Can they use Chinese? Does it have to be English only? Okay, maybe we should figure it out. We should have a better definition. Okay. And number 2 is about why. Why it seems to me like, okay, I am advocating teaching English in English, right? So why do we do it? Well, maybe it's about the qualifications of an English teacher. If you want to be a qualified English teacher, then is this a must? Also, what do they say about it? All right, I have read quite a few papers, and I'm going to introduce you the paper written by, Jack Richards, and I have some understanding of his theory and his experience, and he's a teacher trainer. So we will look at what he said, especially about the components of teacher expertise. So that's what I'll be addressing later. And of course, we have just talked about the challenges. So what about the strategies? What kind of strategies maybe we could employ while taking this approach, using this approach of teaching when we are managing to teach English in English? Are there any strategies? Well, we could share together, at least based on my personal experience. I find them, I find them working ideas, at least for me. So I want to share these strategies with you teachers. Okay, so let's see. Let's start with rationale. All right, when it comes to rationale, this is an important paper, an important statement that I want to share with you. It's published by ACTFL, and I think ACTFL means American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages. So if this is for American teachers, remember their foreign language is not English. Their foreign language is Chinese, Russian, Japanese, Spanish, French. So basically, this is a statement for, teachers of foreign languages, and it's about how they teach French in French. And so I'm using their statement as the rationale, and let's see what they have. Let's see what they put down in that statement. It's a position statement. It was published in 2010, and then it has been modified ever since. And so you could check it online. It's still there. Of course, they have talked about the 5C, etc., but I'm not going to talk about the 5C. I'm going to talk about the central idea, what they believe in. This is the guiding principle they offer for those teachers of foreign languages. So they are saying here, as you can tell on the screen, okay, this is their statement, and I have underlined 2 places. So what do they mean by effective teaching? Well, the so-called effective instruction, by their definition, is about, you should offer students meaningful communication, and number 2, interactive feedback in the target language. I have this highlighted in red in the target language. So while you are conducting your class, basically, you are encouraged to use the target language to offer them interaction, feedback in English. So I'm talking about like teaching English here in our context in Taiwan, because English so far is still the foreign language, is not an official language yet, right? So it's a foreign language to us and to the teachers and to the students. So we have to make sure the communication going on in the class, the interaction is there, and it's all in the target language, which means in our case, in this context in Taiwan, is English. All right, so that the students could develop their language proficiency and culture proficiency, right? Okay, also it goes on, well, when you think about what they put in their statement, it's not just out of nowhere. They actually is based on theories. Yeah, here are the three. Most prominently, Krashen, Long, and Vygotsky. I wonder if you still remember these theories. So at least you know something about Krashen. And by the way, Krashen is still alive, and he's still an active preacher of his theory. He still has his workshop, and he's not really dead. Even Chomsky is still alive, right? And Krashen is like 80 years old. So even though he's old, he's still active in, you know, in the world of language teaching. And Michael Long is still alive too. And he proposed this interaction theory back in the 1980s. So still, like, they are all constantly revising their theories, and they have their publications. You know, they're still hard workers working on the theories. So these are the theories included in their statement. So anyone can tell me something about, like, input hypothesis or I+1, maybe I+1. I think you know that better. Oh, can you type your message, like, in the chat box?
Okay.
So I+1 or input hypothesis. I think this part is really boring. You know, when Xiaoping and me, we were talking about, like, how much time I should spend on the theory, or like for this talk, I was thinking, like, I want to make it as short as possible, because I think the theory part was going to be really boring. It's not exciting at all. And well, back then when I was a college student, I hated theories. I don't think I was a good student. Listening to the teachers preaching to me about the theories, I found them, I want to just, you know, push them away. But now, well, as I try to, you know, review these theories, I found them making sense to me. They are. I started to appreciate those lectures, and I started to realize that's why I'm doing it. Okay, nobody at all. Oh, okay. So maybe we should continue with here. This is what we say when we talk about input hypothesis. It's like we have this device in our head, right? This language device in our head. And Krashen believes, well, you know, with constant input in the target language, then the speaker, the learner, I should say the learner will internalize that message, that input, so that he or she could produce as output. So as much input as possible. So it's treating like this device like a what? Like a computer. Like a computer. And so without input, you will have no output. All right, so that's basically the input theory. But Krashen also talks about I+1. And what's I+1? Let's move on to the next slide. I want to show you the next slide. All right, this is the Chinese that might help. But when we talk about Krashen as input theory, all right, there is something that you need to know as a teacher. And this is what we are doing. We know the student's current language level is the I. And for teachers, when you conduct your teaching, remember, it's I+1. That +1 means you need to go beyond the student's current level of linguistic proficiency. Their language proficiency currently is the I, but you have to go beyond the I, so it becomes I+1. So if they just know how to say good morning, you need to add something to it to get them more space, to challenge them and to help them grow. So it's not like because they don't understand you now, you don't try harder. You don't put in more, something that perhaps beyond their current understanding, to push them out of the envelope to help them grow. So this I+1 is important for, this approach of teaching. If you want to teach English in English, definitely there will be something, some vocabulary that the students do not understand because it's new to them. But that something new is important to help them to push the envelope, okay, and outperform themselves. So basically, this is I+1 concerning what the teachers should provide. And let's get back to the second theory, long. Yeah, it was about this interaction hypothesis. And without talking about it any further, I think Rationale actually emphasized too much on the input. And he somehow ignores the importance of interaction because we know input is not enough. After all, human beings are not just, computers. We're not just a piece of hardware, right? The internalization part is important. We need to internalize it. But if we do not have any help at all from another person, without interaction, well, we may not produce well-formed language, right? In other words, input is input, but we need someone to modify our, when we say produce something, we need modification from another person. It's a way to help you revise your language production. And so that it's like gives and takes. With that gives and takes, that interaction happens, then you know how to produce better. You know how to speak the language better. So it's like constantly revising yourself. And so that's why when you have a class, it has to be interactive. Like you say something, you expect the student to respond. And when they respond, they are trying to use the language they have just learned. And well, while the students may not have accurate, precise production, we can help them. We revise their answer. We rephrase their answer so that they will learn. They will learn, oh, okay, next time when they try it the second time, they know better. They know better. So basically, I think Michael Wong is more like, it's not really opposed. It's not really opposed to what Rationale says, more like revising what Rationale has said about I+1 and comprehensible input. Oh, by the way, I forgot about comprehensible input. It's also a really important thing that you need to bear in mind as a language teacher, because Rationale, other than the input theory, input hypothesis, also emphasizes like whatever the teacher tell the students has to be comprehensible. And what does he mean by comprehensible? That means you should not use academic language to confuse your students. So your input should be comprehensible. So in other words, it's the teacher's job to simplify the language. Okay? Even if it's a complicated idea, try to simplify it. Try to make sure it's easy to take in. So you don't bother to use too much jargon. It's like you do not want to intimidate your students. You want to make them feel comfortable in your class and make sure their comprehension is happening. All right, so sorry, I forgot about comprehensible input. Now I'm coming back for the third part. This is Vygotsky's social culture theory. I think this is actually closely connected to what Rationale has said about comprehensible input and I+1. Because if you look at this chart, okay, you look at this chart, in the middle, you have what the learner can do, okay, without any help from another person. And then that's the inner, the core. That's what the learner already knows. And then around this core, you have a circle. That's the ZPD. So you can tell the ZPD means zone of proximal development. That's the circle where, you know, the learner needs help. When the learner gets help from the teacher, a tutor, or it could be a parent, okay? It could be a peer. Anyway, from their peers, from their teacher, from a tutor, from their parent, they will be able to learn. This is something that's something attainable, okay? Something attainable on the learner's part. So this is the part where, well, you know, teachers come as playing a really important role, because you plays a significant role in this ZPD. While this learner knows just this much, you could help expand their knowledge. You could help them do what they can do. However, there's a third circle. If you look at the third circle, the outer ring, it is the part that beyond their comprehension, beyond what they can do. So it's like something they cannot do now, at least not now. So what we should be working on as a language teacher is we should help the learner expand their knowledge, enable them to do what they can do. And that's the circle where language teachers plays the most important role. So where the, you know, well, for Vygotsky, he called this, you know, more knowledgeable other, MKO. And this is why today, when we talk about language teaching, we always talk about the importance of scaffolding, because as teachers, you need to do this part, yeah, to scaffold the knowledge, to make sure your students know how, so they can do it. I'm sorry, this is a tedious talk, but am I putting you to sleep now?
No, we are still awake.
Do you feel like really tired?
Just all ears.
Okay,
all ears.
Thank you very much. I know I'm sorry, I know there are 200 of you out there, and I do not see your face. And I know this is the part when you feel like, I need to take a break. How much time have I used? I have used like half an hour, right?
Yeah.
I am still working on the theory, and I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
I'm really sorry. Okay. But look, sorry. Well, we will be continue a little bit further, and I hope the next part will be relevant and exciting to you. If not, you can go get a cup of coffee. All right. All right. So here we are. Basically, why do I talk about activeful? Because I'm trying to, you know, seeking the backup, like to back up like what I'm doing, to support myself, to justify myself. Remember what I said? So what they say is, look, the activeful are talking about their statement, and when they come to this page about the use of target language, they advise the teachers to remember, all right, according to their statement, they say in terms of the use of target language, they expect what you provide, the teaching material, okay, what you say, as an educator, and what the learners say and view and hear and write in the class should be all in target language. So there should be no Chinese there. Okay, that's what they say. Remember, this is what they say. And all right, here comes a vital message. You see the second point? It says here, what do they recommend? They recommend that learning take place through the target language for 90% or more of the classroom time. So let's figure this out. If this is what they say, what do they say? Both production and reception of the language has to be in target language. Whatever the readers, the learners say, view, hear, write. Whatever the educator here say, right? Whatever the material have or provide would be in English, in our case. And number two, 90% of the classroom time. So let's do the math here. If we have a period of, like, we have 15, well, you know, the class time is 15 minutes. And then you have to stay in the target language 90% of your classroom time. So how much time of Chinese is provided, is acceptable? So based on what they say, if this 90%, by the definition, is 90% of the classroom time. So we have 15 minutes for one period. Then how much time, how much classroom time of Chinese is allowed?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Thank you for the response. So 5 minutes. Do you think that is a good definition?
Too short.
Too short. We would expect more, right? So let's take that as an ideal goal. And I don't think their definition is perfect. So for me, I want to modify their definition a little. But still, I believe 90% is a good goal that we should strive for. Yeah, whether it's attainable or not, let's see. If we change the definition a little, maybe we can do it. Maybe we can do it. Okay, next is about why. Well, this is about teacher expertise. What do we mean by qualifications? What does it mean to be a good English teacher? Well, here are the traditional view. When we talk about the traditional view of a good English teacher concerning the competence, well, what should you be equipped with when you want to be a good teacher? What should you be equipped with? All right, the traditional view tells us here are 3 components, right? Number 1, content knowledge. Number 2, teaching skills. And number 3, ability to teach in English. If you check the textbook, what they say in the textbook will be, okay, you need to have the content knowledge. And what is content knowledge? What is content knowledge? Remember back in not in high school, back in college, what did you learn during this training? Yeah. What kind of courses have you taken in this training process? You have taken linguistics, right? Phonology.
Syntax, so that you could teach grammar. And maybe you have taken, literature, English literature, American literature. All these courses, right? They help you to be ready for the job. It's the subject, the knowledge of the subject matter. It's about English itself. Okay, it's about English, your proficiency in English in terms of speaking, reading, and writing, okay, and listening. And you need to know about English. That's the content knowledge. And the second thing is teaching skills. So other than English, you need to know how to teach. So that's why you have this course called methodology, right? Teaching methodology. It's about the pedagogy, how you learn to teach. You need to have the skills, how to do the warm-up, how to, have this, how to do the scaffolding, how to lead the students on, how to do the reading, how to conduct reading, how to do the comprehension check, how to wrap it up. All right, this is all the skills you have learned, how to do the lesson planning. Okay, all in all, the skills are important. The techniques are important. And again, these are the courses you have taken back in college, right? But number 3, according to this view, they say ability to teach in English.
you need to know this is about whether you can conduct your class in English or not. All right, if these three are the components, then what does it indicate? I think, we are going to focus on the third one, the ability to teach in English, because this is a component. Then we have to have a second thought. We need to think further. So number one, this is the question. When we talk about teaching in English, it has to do with our language proficiency. How fluent do you speak English? How fluent can you speak in English non-stop? Yeah. All right. I think I have the same problem. Sometimes I struggle in class. I want to talk in English non-stop, but then I get stopped because a word is missing. That word is missing. It's just like not there. And while I was trying to procure that word, it is not there. All right. So we are non-native English speakers. So definitely compare with the native speaker, our language proficiency may be in the way, maybe a problem in the way. If we want to conduct, teaching English in English, right? So here you go. But does it mean, well, they should hire native English speakers to be the teacher? If language proficiency is all it takes to be a good English teacher, so why don't they just hire a foreign teacher? Because they know more about the language. And they are more prepared to teach in their native language. Is that so? And number three, so what I'm asking you, teachers, is do you think native English teachers means qualified English teacher? Yes or no? Do you believe that as non-native English speaking teachers, we can be just as qualified? Can you type your answers there? Because, if this is the case, then we are out of job. The government do not need us. They should just, hire foreign teachers, hire speakers, like native speakers, as the English teachers. What would be the advantages we have? What is the edge we have to be qualified?
We know our student better.
Ah, thank you. We know our students better. In what way?
The way they learn, so how much they've already learned from the primary school, junior high, and until the senior high.
Yeah, and we know what problems they have come across while learning English, right?
Yes.
So we could focus on that very problem, and we know better how to improve, how to help them improve. And culturally, we understand them better, right?
Yeah, some teachers say different cultural backgrounds.
Yeah, because we know the culture and we know how to negotiate with them, how to bond with the students.
Yes.
Yeah, how to make them feel like we are there for them.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is actually a question that I want you to think about. Between native speaker and non-native speaking English teachers, to me, I think it all depends on the individual. So I'm encouraging you out there, whether you're listening or not, right? You can make a good English teacher. And I can assure you in the job market, at least in Taiwan, we have more non-native English speaking teachers, and we are here doing the job. And it really depends on how much effort you make. Okay, so in the next slide, I'm going to quote a few things introduced by this professor, Jack C. Richards, and he offered his view on the teacher expertise, what it means to be a good English teacher. Okay, like I said, if you still remember, you could recall what I just said a few minutes earlier. He is a trainer of teachers, English teacher, language teachers. And yes, he has provided a lot of resources for the training of English teaching or training of English teachers. And I have listened to his talk, and you could check out online as well. So he offered his view on the components of a qualified English teachers. He talked about, yeah, you can see in a way it corresponds to what we just said about the conventional view. Number one, content knowledge. Number two, pedagogical knowledge. And number three, discourse skills. This is a bit different from what we just mentioned, the ability to teach in English. But the first two would be corresponding to what we just said, you know, content knowledge and teaching skills, teaching techniques. Okay, you know all about that. But what about the third part, the third component, discourse skills? What is it? So here's the definition. By discourse skills, listen up. This is actually similar to what we just said about the ability to teach in English. So first of all, in boldface, and you know, when he talks about discourse skills, he said, if you want to be a good teacher, okay, a good teacher of English, you know, you need to be able to produce, all right, to maintain the communication in class in fluent English, in accurate English, and comprehensible English. So in a way, you see what Christian just said, right? Comprehensible English. And also another thing is, as a teacher, EMI is a must. So you have to use English as a medium to teach English. And so this is what he means by discourse skills. And then he talks about this discourse skills from 4 different aspects. What are the 4 different aspects? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So what does that mean? Okay, if you check out the handouts, yeah, well, I could tell it simply. Number 1, first of all, you are able to use the target language, and in our context is English, right? You're able to use English to teach the language. And number 2, remember, I think this is something different and unique that you need to know. You should be able to rephrase, to use comprehensible, to make your message comprehensible. In other words, you should be able to simplify the message you want to get across to your students. In other words, don't make it complicated. Do not make it even harder. If one sentence is not enough, elaborate it further with more examples, just to ensure their understanding. So you should digest it first and then reproduce it in comprehensible language. So that is the point. And number 3, your language should be well formed. I know, even for me, I don't always say correct English because I know I have problem with the tense. Okay, sometimes when it comes to third, the subject verb agreement, I don't get it right. Okay, but still, this is like think about this as an ideal, right? We can work for and work toward. And number 4, so this is what we can do better. We can compare and contrast. We can ensure that our students know the difference between Chinese and English. Yeah, so when you explain grammar, we know better than a native speaker, don't we? Yeah, okay. So basically, we're saying here are the 4 aspects. And this is another thing Richard mentioned in his paper. It's about why language proficiency has an impact on our teaching. All right, first of all, it affects our confidence. Don't you think so? When you are more proficient in the language, you have more confidence producing it. And then when you're teaching English in the class, you will be able to involve the students in the so-called hots rather than the bots. The hots and the bots. The hots means you could involve your students in, the high order thinking skills. So in other words, you can enable them to involve in something more complicated. You don't just focus on the form of vocabulary and grammar. You can enable them to participate in the discussion, and you could challenge them with rhetorical questions, and you could direct their attention to something deeper, something beyond the literal meaning of, a passage or a reading. So in other words, as a proficient language teacher, all right, if you're competent, then your language proficiency help you, your discourse skills help you to involve your students in higher thinking skills. All right, again, on the opposite side, if you have limited language skills, then of course you will be able to just, it's going to be more textbook bound. In other words, you will limit your teaching to the textbook. You will not be able to go beyond the textbook. Are you following?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. So I think this is the advantage when you think about with this ability to teach in English. Yeah, you are fortified with better skills to handle your class. So all in all, that is the point. And sorry, my theory is a bit long. This is the last page. Okay? And also when when Richard talks about discourse skills, and he made it really clear that discourse skill doesn't just come in class, okay? It has 3 phases. So before the class, your discourse skills should be demonstrated in your lesson plan. So do you prepare for your class? Do you plan your lessons? Do you know what to do first, what to do second, and how you build up their understanding, how you reach the goal you want to achieve, how you help students learn it? All right, did you do your planning before a class? So that is significant. So of course, in class, when you are conducting the teaching, it's important, and I think you know it. But it also involves, discourse skills. It also involves this phase after teaching. So it's about your reflection. How do you revise your teaching afterwards? How do you make sure your evaluation will, work for you and the students? So it's about evaluating your teaching and evaluating your students. So, it's before, while, and after. Okay, all the 3 phases. Okay, all the 3 phases. So, in other words, when you talk about discourse skills, it's not about just the middle part, the while teaching part. Okay. Thank you very much. I thought I could, I have been babbling for so long. Do you find it hard to catch?
No, it's okay.
It's okay. All right.
We love theories.
Thank you very much. I'm second guessing myself, when I do not see you and when I don't have any response, I have this panic in my mind. That's the anxiety. Like I said, it's almost like walking on a tightrope with, over this field landmark, and you don't know, there's a bomb coming up and blowing you away. Thank you very much. Good. So we have been talking about challenges, so I don't think I need to talk about it because you have the answers in the chat box. So I'm going to continue and skip it. But if these are the challenges, all right, I think we'll worry about this class size, right? We worry about the student ability. We worry about your language proficiency. It's about this confidence in conducting the class in all English. It's about this fluency, whether you can achieve that fluency or not. That could be a big issue. And grammar, how can you understand grammar? How do you explain grammar in English? Do we really have to do everything in English? Honestly, my answer is no. No. I don't think we have to explain grammar in English. You can do it with the help of Chinese. Yes. You can get the students familiar with those terms like, oh, you talk about participial construction. You talk about past participle. Right? You talk about present participle. And they know inversion. They know the term because you say it once and twice and second times and third times. And then they somehow, they get it next time you see it. And on the slide, you can show them the Chinese so they can follow you with the help of a slide. That's how I do it. So even when I speak in Chinese, they have the, even when I speak in English, they have the Chinese on the slide that they can refer to. So they don't need to guess what I'm saying when it comes to grammar. It helps. So PPT, yeah, your slides help. And all right, so I know these are the challenges. And when you ask me, is it English only? No. My answer is no. I allow my students to produce their answers in Chinese. I do not mind that they conduct their discussion in Chinese. It's okay. I want the noise because I want to hear the noise. I want them, I want them to enjoy the talking. And I know when they have a free discussion in Chinese, they are happy. And I want them to be happy. So this is what I'm saying to you. Like, when I stick to the 90%, 90% in target language, I'm saying me as a teacher, I will stick to that 90% of target language, 90% of the classroom time in target language. I would try to stay within 90% of classroom time of target language, but not for my students. They will find it perfectly okay because I allow them to do so, to talk, to respond, to make their answers in English. But I will encourage them to talk in English. All I do is give them a prompt, a cue, a vocabulary word to get them to talk. All right? Okay. So what about next? I think when it comes to strategies, it perhaps makes more sense to watch a little bit of my videos. Okay, because I was supposed to write a paper. Remember, I was assigned a job to write a thesis paper on all English teaching, right? So I recorded my classes just to study myself. I want to know how I was doing it. Sometimes when I'm doing the self-talk, and I wonder if my students are doing something naughty, and are they really listening? Did I do a good job? I want to record I want to study myself. So here, I'm going to show you a little bit of can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show you a video clip. And in this video clip, I was trying to explain to my students how to use this phrase, look forward to. Okay, look forward to, right?
Yes.
Okay, listen. If you are going to teach this phrase, which part would you emphasize? Or would you clarify to ensure that your students will use this phrase correctly?
The grammar part?
Which part? Concerning grammar, yeah.
Look forward to the ing, the preparation.
Oh, yeah. As an experienced teacher, you know, the students, they cannot tell the difference between infinitive to and the prepositional to, right?
Yep.
They don't really know whether it's infinitive to followed by the base form of a verb, or a prepositional to that will be followed by a ing or a noun form. I think that's the part you would like to emphasize and clarify. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's see, how did I do it? Okay, this is about like 2 minutes, and bear with me. It's not perfect. I'm not saying I'm a perfect teacher. Actually, I make mistakes all the time. I hesitate all the time in my class. So, but this is real. When I was, by the way, when I was recording it, I didn't know I would have a big audience out there other than my students. All right. So I apologize for my mistakes, and you can laugh at me, and just to show you how I did it. All right. Here we go.
Look at paragraph 5. We're coming to the last paragraph. We are. So here we go. Can you underline in-flight meals again? And this part, look forward to. Yeah. Starting in the first paragraph, we talk about in-flight meals, in-flight food, but there, a couple things. 飞机上的餐, 飞机餐, and then you got look forward to. So why is it important? I need you to highlight for serving, man. And you get the point? Why is it a phrase that you need to pay attention to? Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I'm looking forward to serving you again. I'm looking forward to the holiday. I'm looking forward to my lunch. Alright, so do you see sentences I make you all seem to be telling what? 你的出是什么词？介系词 ，You got it. Yep. 然后后面如果加动词，那就是 be I being G， 不然就是放名词。Be careful. Just highlight it. Okay? I'm looking forward to your visit. 为啥？期待你来访。I'm looking forward to your visit. I'm looking forward to your reply. To your reply. 期待你回信。Okay, let's do some practice. I do have here something for practice. Are you ready? Take a look. Have your answers ready. Have a discussion with a neighbor if you're not so sure. Okay, this is a translation exercise. Come on. I'm going to take the number. I have the number. Do you have the answer? Come on. Have a discussion. If you're not very sure. If you do, fine. All in all, it's about look forward to. Look forward to. Come on. Yeah, here's the number. Number 29. See it? I'm looking forward to. Your reply. Thank you. I think you got an answer. I'm looking forward to your reply. To your reply. Thank you. Eugene, your turn. Next one. It was such a wonderful trip. I am. Oh, good job. So take a look. I'm looking forward to traveling with you again next time. And yeah, the other one. So.
Okay, so back here. that is the first video, and it's about grammar. Sorry, I was laughing at myself when I was watching it. But all in all, like, what I want you to know is you can use Chinese to explain it. Focus on the difference between the prepositional to and the infinitive to. Let them know it's followed by a VING. And with practice, you are trying to reinforce that structure. Okay, another video that I have is here. This is some okay, this is the lesson 3 in long-term textbook. If you have taught the lesson, you know it's about the question whether money can buy everything. Do you think money can buy everything, including love? All right, in the story, you know what? In the story, basically, at the end of the story, it seems like a happy ending. Richard, he eventually wins the heart of a socialite by the name Lantry, Miss Lantry. But he didn't know that his father actually has, you know, tried to create an accident, a traffic jam, to help him buy the time to propose to Miss Lantry. Right? He has no idea. He has no idea that has happened. He thought his proposal to Miss Lantry was a success because of true love, but indeed it wasn't. It was actually money. His father did it behind his back. All right, so I was coming to this part when I want my students to tell me what the surprise ending could be. Okay, because this story was written by O. Henry. It involves a surprise ending. And I want my students to make a guess, to predict the ending before they read it. So this is how I conducted this part, and it's about making prediction, okay? Making prediction and thinking about what kind of ending the story could have.
老师，我们没有看到影片 ，We didn't see the video. Just
oh, sorry.
Oh my goodness! So it was a success. Supposedly, the story should end here. If it's a success, then the story should end here. Man, she already, well, like, she accepted. Miss Lantry accepts the offer, and obviously, you will have a happy couple, and that's the end of the story. Well, what should we read on? Any twist at all? Look, excuse me, girls and boys, I don't want you to read on. Close your beds. Let's see, what do you think might have happened? Anyone who has read the story, so you already know what will be happening? I knew you were so impatient. You would come to the end and figure it out. Then do not say anything to your father. All right, boys and girls, remember O. Henry. He is a different writer. He's good at creating the twist, especially with a surprise ending. You never know what is coming up. So if you have discussion with a neighbor, make your prediction. What do you think might have happened? There's a twist. Do not tell. Do not tell. What is going to happen? What has happened? thought you might be upset somehow. I'm glad you're happy. What do you mean by happy? It's success, therefore there's something in the story. A happy ending. Bad. There must be something surprising coming up. I'm not telling you that's the story. I'm telling you that's the story. I would like you to, did you read the end? What's your guess? And I know some of you might become a very good writer. Yeah. Someday when you decide to write a short story of your own, remember O. Henry's style might be something to learn from. How about Dino? Dino has alright, he has a storyline he would like to share with you. Tell us what you told me. Louder and slow down, let them hear you.
So I said that the two girls will interrupt because they are the story title, but they haven't appeared yet.
Oh, so in other words, because there should be something about them coming up, and we haven't really read about them yet. I see. How about you? Excuse me, Shannon has something to say. She has another different prediction.
I think his father ate meat and
did you hear that? His father paid Miss Lantry to accept the proposal, to accept this offer. And in other words, it's not true love. Still many wins. Because she would not say yes if she hasn't got the money from his dad, Richard's dad. What do you say? Isn't that a good guess? Guys, read on. Now find a partner.
Okay, so that is another video. And we are coming back. I think I have a third video. I have a third video to show you how I explain the comprehension. Yeah, it's more like a comprehension check. So here is the video about, okay, Malala, I think. All right, am I? Oh yeah, this one. Sorry, I'm going to share with you this part. This is a video about Malala. I think some of you might have taught this lesson. Malala was interviewed, and he was in this video. She was talking about the importance of uniform. The importance of uniform, and I asked the students to answer the question: do they understand what Malala said in the video or not? This is a question that I have put on the worksheet. So they have the question on the worksheet, but how do they answer it, and how did they answer it, and how did I rephrase their answers? Let's see. Here is, can you see it?
All right,
yes.
I think that's all. So, can I have the answers? Starting from the first one. So, what about the meaning of the uniform? What did she say about it? Let me pick a number. I know she has a long answer, but essentially, What does it mean to her? Yeah, she talked about like the very day she got shot, she was in a uniform, right? Yeah, that was true, but maybe that's not the answer. It's more about the value of it. Alisa, what is your answer? Yeah, when she was wearing uniform, she was actually doing it to show like she's actually is part of the action of what? Yes. Yeah, number one, she's doing her right. She is doing her right as a student. Really? Maybe. She's showing it to the world, right? Okay. It's like a declaration or something. You're saying it's not really declaring a war. No, that would be just too much. But it's more like a statement. Okay. All in all, if you want to put it simply, it's more like making a statement. With the uniform, you're making a statement to show the world that you're doing it. Yeah, you're claiming your right to education, and for all the kids as well. Thank you.
All right. I think that is about it. All right. So with the 3 videos, I think basically, like you could tell a lot of a lot of interactions between me and the students. And by showing you these videos, I'm trying to get across to you the strategies I want to present. You know, through when I'm conducting a class, I think basically I try to help my students, you know, follow me with a lot of body language. And you could tell, like, I got stuck. Yeah, I got stuck here and there. Sometimes I would be trying to retrieve a certain word, and before I retrieved it, I was struggling. So that happened to me, and honestly, it happened to me all the time. But what I can do is I will make sure, like, I prepare better next time. And because when I, as a teacher, I don't want to disappoint my students. And I know if I do not deliver it right, well, I could, you know, I could plan better and I could do better to help them understand me. These 5 principles basically shows you what I follow and what I have learned in the past 30 years. I feel like to be able to conduct the class in English, these 5 principles are important. Okay, you may not find them in any textbook. Maybe, but that are out of my theory. Is like I'm trying to theorize what I have been teaching so far. So these are the 5 principles, whether you buy them or not, just for your reference. So I call them FOCS. It sounds like cursing, huh? But it's FOCSS. So FOCS, you know, the F for flexible, O for overprepared, and C for conversational, S for strategic and being supportive. Okay, so how do I do it? I mean, I will constantly remind myself, preparation is everything. And I know if I'm not over-prepared, I would be under-prepared. So even though I am an experienced teacher, like I said, I have been teaching for so many years. Supposedly, if you are a seasoned teacher, you may not need to prepare everything, do you? But unfortunately, as an English teacher, every year I will be teaching a different textbook with a different topic. And for many times I have to deal with an unfamiliar topic. It's always like there's something new there for me to tackle. So it's not like I can teach the same thing a second time, a third time, or all the time. No, we might have some classic lessons that remain in the textbook, but it's rare, perhaps one or two. And you know, English teacher is also a content teacher. And that means you have to deal with different disciplines. It could be about black hole. It could be about euthanasia. And yeah, it could be about stereotype. So each time, you know, with different students, with a different topic, you have to prepare for it. So my policy or my principle is I have to make sure like I am ready for my students. And what it would be the objectives I have in mind for this reading. What do I want them to do? How do I make them understand? I mean, all in all, like they have to be, I need to make sure it's done. So I have to prepare myself for it. So over prepare means more than preparation. You just have to prepare, plan and prepare and practice before you present. So that's the 4 P's. So the O in Fox is over prepared. And that seems to be my one of the most important principles I have followed so far. Okay, know your material. Even though you have your textbook, but it's not everything. Remember, if you are a good teacher, you have to go beyond the textbook. And I will prepare worksheets for my students. Yes, the textbook will provide you with a teacher's manual. And in the teacher's manual, they offer you something like a website, yeah, for your reference. And they have worksheets, ready-made worksheets. But are you happy with their worksheets? If you're not happy, you should create something out of your own. So that, in a way, that means you could do a better job and you can make sure your students learn from you something different they can learn from another teacher. All right, because you are the one that makes it unique. All right, that's my policy. That's kind of like the principle I follow. And be conversational. So when you are watching the video, all right, even though I have prepared for my lesson, that doesn't mean I rehearse every line. You've got to improvise a little bit here and there, depending on your student's response, right? Not everything could go as you have planned. There will always be some surprises coming. Like student A respond with something really different, and how do you reply? How do you reply, and how do you offer him the feedback, whether it's negative or positive? Okay, so this interaction will be impromptu. So you need to improvise a lot. So I want to make sure like my delivery is conversational. It's more like having the dialogue. It's not like preaching one-sided. Okay, so it's more spontaneous. The spontaneous exchanges between you and students would mean a lot and says a lot about your teaching. While you are using the target language, does it sound natural or not? I think this is the key difference. If you do it like having a conversation, you feel like, yeah, there's a flow. Even though you stop for, sometimes you would think about a certain word or something, but still it comes with a flow, a natural flow. So when you are conducting your class in the target language, try to make sure it's spontaneous so that you can connect with your students. And that connection would be different. Like sometimes the students will not feel like you are speaking the target language. They feel like you're just talking with them. And they forgot like you're teaching them English. I believe so. All right, so be strategic. This is, sorry, I have come to about 90 minutes of that listen. So be strategic means there are a lot of strategies you could rely on for better delivery, for more successful class. So to ensure success, I think vocabulary support is important. So when you introduce a video, like for example, you want them to watch the video, and you need to have this vocabulary list on the worksheet. Get them to know these words. Get them to know the pronunciation. Shadow them. So later when they watch the video, they feel better without your explanation. And after that, when you conduct the follow-up questions, they know what you're talking about. And everything's on the worksheet. So that is important. And paraphrasing is important. I try to paraphrase my students' answer. Sometimes their answer, an answer may not be very clear to other students. So I will have to rephrase it. I will say it again in a more like in a comprehensible way that is fluent and clear in simple language. So the other students will know exactly what the answer is. And pop-up translation, it happens like in my slide, you can tell I will have the pop-up translation just to make sure like the understanding comes easier and faster. And body language. I happen to be the kind of physical person. I do not know how to teach without my hands. I don't know how to teach without, the eye-to-eye contact. I make eye contact. I use a lot of body language. And illustrative slides, well, that helped. Printed out handouts, task-based projects. Yeah, web quest. I conducted web quest a lot. Because while conducting a web quest, students are doing it on their own. I have a list of questions you can find in the file, like I have provided, in this at this website. I mean, you can find in the drive, in the hard drive, in the cloud, right? All the material, like it includes some web quest task. I may have a list of questions. I provide them over the website, and then I want them to do the Google search. They find the answers and they share the answers with the class. Because the materials in English, they have to force themselves to do it in the target language. Yeah, not Chinese. Videos, all right, and games. Yeah, I conduct games a lot. And you can also find an example in the cloud. I think I offered you an example about chocolate. Yeah, I produced like a 10-question game, one by one, to get them know about the difference between, it's about chocolate and how chocolate was made, and where chocolate was produced, and how, like, also about some different important facts about chocolate. Yeah, I think that is a game I provide for you as an example. All right, so these strategies, I mean, you must have tried it. Yeah, and you could create something new. Remember, my point is, a game out of the teaching oftentimes works better than a ready-made game provided by the publisher, the book publisher. Or if the book publisher offers you a game, you should adapt it, okay? You should adapt it, turning it into something of your own. And then you will feel like, that sense of achievement is amazing. All right, I'm the kind of person, I don't really follow everything they provide. I use it as a reference, but I try to adapt and recreate something. Yeah. And be supportive. All right. I allow mistakes. I think this is important. Be positive and polish their phrases, polish their answers, rephrase their answers, and set up a reward system. So I've been asked this question, what kind of reward system is it? Look, when I was conducting a game for this lesson about the chocolate, I told them, your answer could be in Chinese, but if you could answer me in English, I would give you bonus points. Let's say this question is worth, let's say, 100 points. But if you are able to produce an answer in English, wow, the reward is you will have 200 points. So it's double the points, right? It makes them really happy and is more like an incentive to get them to talk in English. And it works every time. All right, so be flexible. What I'm saying is, I know your students come, when it comes to their English proficiency, they come at different levels. So you need to try to cater to their needs. Sometimes when you talk to a student who doesn't understand you at all, no matter how much you try, then why not talking to him in Chinese? Because, you know, this is like a talk for bonding. You know, look, if you know Taiwanese and I speak in Taiwanese, and I say, oh, you feel like, haha, we are on the same side. This is bonding. So when you talk in their native language, they will feel like, yes, we are together. We are on the same team. And you offer them like this, it's mentally, emotionally a support to your listener. Okay. Now, discipline problems. Sometimes when you discipline a student, I mean, the classroom management could be a problem. In terms of, even when I approach my students, try to discipline him or her, I use English. But if he doesn't really follow, I have to take it seriously and I will use Chinese. I switch to Chinese. I know they have to take it seriously because I don't normally switch to Chinese unless it's absolutely necessary. So for me, when it comes to classroom management, it could be a problem. When I keep on like delivering in English, then I switch to Chinese. All right, thoughts over language. So remember, your students, you want them to express their thoughts. If they find it too hard to express their opinion in English, do not punish them. Do not make them feel bad. Encourage them to talk on further. Your job as a teacher is to rephrase their answer, to say it again in English. Be the translator, in other words. All in all, flexible is important. And there's one more thing. All right, you know what? There is one thing that you can do to prepare yourself to conduct a class in English. This is the Classroom English Manual. It's not produced by me. No, it's produced by the NTNU Bilingual Education Research Center, and they have a website there where you can just fill in some simple personal info, contact info, and then you can download the manual. It's for free. It's for free, okay? Free of charge. And that way, I mean, sometimes you might have a simple expression that that you have in mind in Chinese, and then you would be thinking, how do I say that in English? Oh, okay, perhaps, yeah, check out this manual. They can be a good help, and it could be a convenient resource for a non-native English-speaking teacher like you and me. Okay, that's all. I'm sorry I spent so much time talking about theory, and then I hope my demonstration does not disappoint you. and thank you for listening. I appreciate your participation very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, 秀娟老师。Actually, thanks for such an informative and profound and most of all practical sharing. You know what? We have videotaped this. You can see later from your vivid expression, your gestures, and your body language. We know how enthusiastic and passionate you are as a teacher. Yeah, 真的看起来好热情哦！我觉得你之后可以看你自己的录影，你会觉得哇，你真的是非常的生动。
It made me laugh when I was like looking at myself teaching. It doesn't seem like me. I didn't know I was like that. I didn't know I was like that.
You really enjoy your teaching. I mean,
that's true. That is true. I really enjoy teaching as a job, and I think I have been in love with my career all these years. I don't get tired of it.
How long have you been teaching?
Like I said, this is the 30th year. 30th year.
Wow.
30th year. And I've been practicing all English teaching since day one of my career.
Wow. It's
nothing new to me. And I didn't know it would become a national policy. Like even now, you know, I understand, like for now, I seem to be used as an instrument, right? As a propaganda. To convince the teachers, like we can do English teaching in English. But I didn't know that when 30 years ago, when I started teaching. That's why I'm telling you, it was more like a belief to me. I was trained to do teaching, to conduct teaching this way. And I have believed that that is the way we should be doing the teaching. So that's why I do it. And all these years, I have forgotten why I did it. I have forgotten that until 2 years ago, I started to have this reflection, reviewing the theories, trying to find out the reasons why. Yeah.
Yeah, you're really such a role model for the English teacher. And for the teachers today, you can see in the chat box, you have some feedback form and the whole folder for today. And we have, now it's a Q&A section. So any questions, because everybody was so concentrating on your speech, so nobody raised any questions. So any questions?
I hope I didn't put you to sleep. Like, I know it's kind of boring.
No.
It's not exciting at all.
Really.
Thank you very much.
Actually, just the thing you shared. Yeah.
I think we can conduct the Q&A in Chinese. Why not?
Okay, sure.
I think we can do it in Chinese. I think it makes everyone more comfortable, right? Okay, if you're getting tired of my English, why don't we just switch to Chinese or even Taiwanese?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk. 有没有问题？大家就是我们开放3个老师，现场老师直接就是口头提问。那在大家就是提出问题之前，我有一个建议，就是其实我刚才在看轩辕老师的那个分享的时候，我觉得如果大家有申请全英课程的话，其实可以再把，因为我们会有录音档，当成是自己社团公备的一个，就是1节课。那大家可以根据老师分享的理论，然后来想想看。依据自己的学校，我们会怎么把这些理论应用到实际的课堂上？我觉得它是一个共备非常好的题材。好，那我们现在开放老师们有3位老师可以问一下问题，所以想问问题的老师可不可以举一下手？然后就我们再请你发言，有吗？好，我们有 OK， 所以 Miranda 老师，好，可以，你可以打开你的麦克风，请说出您的问题。
我刚才有写在 chat box 里面，我就说其实蛮多老师一开始不敢用全英，就是因为很怕这个就是学生会把耳朵关机，因为他就会觉得说这个英文课就是怎么办？因为我的学生程度真的是没有很好，他们有些都还在 beginner 阶段，然后加上我们可是教的课本偏偏又是有一点点程度的，所以就会不敢使用全英，是因为很怕学生就会自己把耳朵关起来，所以就会想说万事起头难，就会想要问老师说，那如果刚开始的时候我们可以怎么做？这样子，谢谢。
谢谢啊，我觉得这个问题很好。 呀，因为我觉得我上课的时候，我有一些小方法，我自己讲英文常常讲到我忘记。当然，我忘记的意思就是说 ，like it has become like more like a habit， 就是我的 habit 就是这样。那我讲，但是一个新的班级里面，第一堂课他们一定都是很 confused，like they feel lost and they were really surprised. They have their eyes wide open, looking at me like, oh. Are you an alien or something? Like we are having this teacher on the platform babbling in English all the time. What are you doing? When are you going to switch to Chinese? They are expecting me to start talking in Chinese. And I know that happens in the first meeting. OK， 第一堂课一定是这样，但是后来就会发现他们很自然。然后我都知道一个班里面。总是会有学生听不懂嘛，所以我的第一个 Chinese 通常就是讲说 Are you following? Do you know what I'm saying? Anyone can help me translate what I just said in Chinese? 这是我问的一个问题，就是我的第一个问题，通常要 check their comprehension， 所以我会问有没有人听懂，然后我觉得我做到了一件事，就是我尽量不要做那个翻译机。就是我的翻译机的意思就是我不当那个 translator， 我让我的学生当 translator。就是，然后我会请一个同学把我刚刚讲，尤其是如果我最后是一个作业，我今天讲3个作业，其实讲得很长 ，and I want to make sure they know what I want them to do. So I would like to have a student to translate, to tell everybody what I just said.In Chinese， 那结果那个学生就会1、2、3就会讲完，然后同学就懂了。所以我尽量不要去做翻译机，尽量让同学做翻译机。但是有的时候为了时间，在讲文法，我会就像我刚刚在讲 look forward to， 你要讲那个介系词，就是在那个瞬间的时候，我还是会用中文的。那我们为什么不能讲英文？是因为我们为什么怕讲英文，因为怕同学不懂，所以我觉得基本上怕是一定会的，但是我发现学生也蛮厉害的。我的意思是说，我第一个礼拜上完的时候，我每一堂都会 check 他们到底懂多少，然后我发现他们后来的习惯是，他觉得老师讲中文很奇怪，就是会慢慢的习惯，而且我觉得有一点就是我们的语言本身。有没有流利度，或是在于一个我们语言本身会不会一直在讲很难的东西？如果你用的字汇不是太难，课本的内容也好，你的 transition 也好，其实你都不会是只有讲一次。你讲 basically, actually, let's see, well 那种的一些 transition， 其实都还蛮简单的。然后谈到课文的时候，我觉得如果你有很多的 body language， 你有很多的小助手，然后你就像我刚刚说的，你的 slide 里面其实是有中文的成分的，那学生通常 follow 的情况不会太差。我们有一些必要的状况还是会讲中文，但是我的意思是说，老师自己可以训练出一个流利度，而这个流利度里面是让学生自然而然就会去听你的英文。然后不会觉得因为不懂而不听。那当然，教室里面我的眼睛是打开的，我会注意到有同学没有听，我会过去关心他，这是我们当老师的基本原则。但是因为你是一个舞台表演者，所以在舞台表演的时候，我常常在想，如果我能照顾到的学生是大部分的学生，那我就办到了。我没有办法 please every individual。可是我心里面的想法是我办得到，我相信我学生办得到，然后我有小技巧帮助我，然后最后我觉得我的学生是会慢慢的适应我，然后让他们在英文课里面的感觉就是英文课怎么会没有啊？不会啊，就是英文啊，就是英文。那我也有学生直接告诉我说，他第一次听到我讲他听不懂的。就是很好笑哦，我这个讲这个笑话是真实的笑话。我记得我有一个男生班，然后我一个学生举手，那很久以前了，然后他说要去上厕所， 然后我就说 OK，go ahead。我说 go ahead， 意思就是叫他去，但是没有，那个学生就坐回去了，他又坐回他座位上，他没有出去。然后我就一直想，这么简单的英文他怎么听不懂呢？那我也没有想。后来我告诉大家，后来那个学生说他第一次真的没听懂 go ahead 是什么。他后来下课去问同学，他才知道 go ahead 是什么。那他跟我讲说，老师，我以为你讲 go ahead 是在骂我。我说 go ahead 怎么是骂你呢？他说 go ahead 是去你的头啊。Oh my gosh， 他把它直翻成 go ahead 是去你的头，所以他以为我在骂他，所以他不敢去，他坐下来。所以我要讲就是说，我要承认的是，很多时候学生是在不懂的状况之下，但是他们会去慢慢的适应，就是说他第一次不懂，他第二次会懂，他第三次会懂，但是我要营造的是一个环境，让他觉得全英文上课好像是 step by step， 他就会做得到。但是我要相信，他要相信老师，然后老师要先做 model， 也就是说，我让他们觉得这个是一个自然的环境，没有刻意的，我做的流程或什么，有些其实这些流程也是固定的，他们就会习惯你的流程，然后可能就会变得比较容易。OK，
很清楚，很清楚，谢谢秀娟老师的回答。再一位就好，因为时间的关系，其实我们对。还有没有老师要提问？还是大家直接写在问卷上，然后老师就是可以回答。如果到时候我们公开影片的时候，也可以一起回答这个问题。好，那
不好意思，
不会，这表示大家真的非常 enjoy。所以那就是最后再麻烦就是大家填一下问卷，然后就是非常感谢秀娟老师今天答应我们的就是分享，我相信这应该不会是我们最后一次，我们一定以后就是全英授课之后，我们一定会很需要你的。
我觉得大家都一定很厉害，我觉得大家一定可以去经营出一套自己的全英文的做法。就像我刚刚说，那些理论其实我觉得需要 adapt。在我来看，那个90%，其实它的90%的定义跟我是不同的。但是我觉得我们老师可以把它当做一个目标，我讲的也就是这个意思。然后尽量营造出一个环境来，然后慢慢的，我觉得我们的学生其实还可塑性啦，有可塑性啦。好，这是我最后要讲的。对，谢谢。
好，谢谢秀娟老师，然后也谢谢大家的参与。那如果有什么问题，或是希望还有什么样的研习，也请就是留在就是问卷里面，就是让学科中心知道。然后非常感谢大家。